Well, I've been watching Dune Prophecy. Hello. Hello. It's been a while, I know. I've been really bad about making new videos. I don't know what's up with me. Sometimes I just have these moments where every time I try to make a video, I start to talk and I have nothing to say. My thoughts can't come together in this manner. And I think that's partly just been the last couple of months have been a little weird. I was in a relationship for a little bit, and that didn't work out, and then I was depressed. And I got addicted to those Zyn pouches, those little nicotine pouches, which are evil. I've decided they're evil because unlike cigarettes, like when I used to smoke cigarettes, like you'd have to go outside and you'd have to have the smell on you, and there was consequence to smoking cigarettes, right? But Zins or any of those little nicotine pouches, you can just pop those like candy. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in a movie theater. You can do it at your desk. It's bad, and I could feel just that the amount of nicotine that you're putting into your body is really, it's just too much poison. And quitting those was, even though I was only doing them for a couple months, quitting was really hard. I think it was worse than quitting smoking cigarettes, because with cigarettes I didn't smoke that much, and I didn't really like, I only really liked to smoke when I was drinking, so it was pretty easy to just be like, I'm not going to do that, especially stuff, since I don't drink anymore, that was easy. But I was having like crazy like heart palpitations at night, like it was like full blown like withdrawal symptoms, and that was this last week. I'm done with that shit now. So anyways, always something with me. I invite so much bullshit into my life, and I don't know why. I think it's just testing myself so I can be prepared for Valhalla. Anyways, I've been watching Dune Prophecy, and I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. It's visually. I enjoy it visually. It's got some great sets and some great costumes, and you feel like you're in the Duneverse, Dune universe. But I find that the story is incredibly dull, just dreadfully dull. And part of that is because I really don't care about any of the characters. Like we're 3 episodes in, and the new episode is out today, which I haven't watched that yet. I don't know if it's out yet, but it comes out today. And I just, I think so I finished the first episode, and I found that first half, which was just all exposition and just such a slog to get through. And then it got a little bit better in the second half, but then, I didn't even feel like watching the second episode when it came out. And then the third episode is like all flashback, all backstory to when Valia Harkonnen and her sister Tula are young, and they're the Harkonnens have been banished to some like backwater, and the Atreides are the reason why, and there's all this stuff, and it's just like I don't care. This doesn't move the story forward at all. It's just even more explanation of these characters I don't like or care about anyways, and we get all this stuff with them that it took me like 3 or 4 tries to get through that episode. Lately I am encountering more and more shows where I just, instead of just, like, oh, I'm going to watch the whole season, I'm going to see if I'm just not going to do it. Like, I don't know, I'll probably finish Dune Prophecy just because it's like part of a larger project, the Duneverse. And even though I haven't really loved any of it, like I didn't love the book by Frank Herbert, I didn't love the Denis Villeneuve movies, and I don't like it. Maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should give up on Dune. But this just seems like you got Travis Fimmel from Vikings and Raised by Wolves, and I love his characters in those shows. But like, this is the third time now, fourth if you count the Warcraft movie, where he does this like the Viking accent and acts crazy, and he does the crazy eyes, and it's like the same character over and over again. And it's just, can you do something else? Can they stop casting him to play the same character? Like, could you just do this Desmond Hart or whatever his name is? Could he just be a different kind of crazy? Maybe with a British accent or an Australian accent, since he is Australian, mate. That's a really hard accent to do, actually. You have to say rise up lights. Rise up lights. Rise up lights. And then you can see it's razor blades in Australian. Anyways, you got Mark Strong as the Emperor, and he's actually very weak, which is ironic. Because, yeah. I find the whole setting for this, too, 10,000 years before the events of the Dune movies in the book. And I know that time in this fantasy universe moves slowly, but there's it's like it could be 5 years before, right? The Harkonnens and the Atreides hate each other. Everything's all about the spice on Arrakis. Yada, da, 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 da. It's like, really 10,000 years go by between this point and that point, and they still haven't figured out how to beat the Fremen, and they still, really 10,000 years and they still all dress the same? I don't know. Am I just getting old and grouchy with fantasy stuff? It just seems so implausible to me. And then maybe, if the story itself was more compelling and I enjoyed it more, those sorts of things I would overlook. Maybe just because I'm so bored with this show, I find lots of little things to be annoyed with, like the casting. Okay. The young people all feel like they're just out of a CW show. They're all young and pretty, and they're not great actors, and they're totally being cast just because they look good. And also, okay. I do think that in the Dune universe, since it's a sci-fi space opera, futuristic, I think that it's okay. It's not like an old medieval setting. So diversity you're gonna have some diversity. But I swear to God, every time there's a gathering of the sisterhood, every time there's a white chick, a black chick, an Asian chick, a Hispanic chick, and an East Indian chick. Every time it's like a commercial. You know how they do that in commercials where they have a really diverse group of people in every car commercial or whatever. It's just how it feels. It's like, all right, in scene 7 and scene 23, we got to make sure you got the Asian chick, the black chick, the white chick, another black chick. So this is the problem with the kind of approach to diversity that we see, is that it feels very artificial. It feels very much like we're checking boxes. We got to have the right amount of every race in every scene. Meanwhile, none of the characters are particularly interesting. That's the other thing. You give it, look, I really like the first season of Yellow Jackets. And I know this is a huge swerve into a show that probably a lot of you haven't seen. First season of Yellow Jackets is a really great season of television. It features a diverse female-led cast, but every character has personality. They're different. They're unique. They're flawed, and they're interesting. Their stories and their interactions with one another are interesting because they are not all just, they're not either generic or boss girl. That's what makes that show so great. Well, that's one of the things. That's what makes it a great example of how to do female characters right. Whereas the Sisterhood, it's yeah, okay, some of these characters have flaws. The Harkonnen, Valia Harkonnen is clearly just kind of an evil bitch who just magically knows how to use the Ben Gesserit, am I saying that right? The voice power. The magic, it all comes off as very goofy, forced, and bland. And I literally cannot think of one single character in the show that I root for, that I care about. I mean, the conflicts, it's at this point, the conflict is between the Sisterhood and this Desmond Hart guy, and then we've got the great houses, and this Desmond Hart guy has this power where he can immolate you from the inside out. Cool power. And he can resist the voice, which is cool. But the fact that they just invented the voice as this thing that this one chick could just do is really stupid. And I just don't I don't care who wins this conflict. None of it means anything. And then it falls victim to the prequel trap. I've talked about this before, but prequels have a problem because it's what's going to happen. So unless you can do something really interesting with how to get there, like Better Call Saul, which introduced enough really great new characters that we didn't know what was going to happen to them, and that kept that story fresh and interesting, and it was just really well written. But most prequels, or lots of prequels anyways, the problem is that you already know what's going to happen. We already know what's going to happen on Arrakis 10,000 years later. So we're sort of like disjointed from that story, but also like whatever they do now, where's the tension? If we don't care about the characters and we know what's going to happen in the wider plot, where's the tension? Why should we give a shit? And I may just have to give up this show because it's just, there's nothing really, after 3 episodes, there's nothing really that's drawing me in. And there's other shows that I find, and I might make separate videos, but like Black Doves on Netflix, this British spy thriller. I got through the first episode and I got like partway through the second episode and I was just like, this is very bland. It's very highly stylized and bland. And I like the actors. I like Sarah Lancashire. I like Keira Knightley, Ben Whishaw, but the story is just bland. And they're making up for it by making it like, giving it all this glitz and sex appeal. And it's not even that, it doesn't even do those very well. If you want sex appeal, go watch Rivals on Hulu or Disney. Rivals, that I'll make a separate video. That's a great show, actually. And that's bringing back, I'm going to make another video about like the shows that are bringing back like sexy, like nudity and sex, and like in a way that is not, that's like sex positive and not ashamed of showing tits and ass. Holy shit. Are we getting back to that? To be fair, Dune Prophecy even has a scene with quite a lot of TNA, and that surprised me because I thought we were only showing male junk, and all the women were going to hide behind sheets forever. But it looks like maybe the tides have turned. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. I'll talk about these other shows later. But I am just like at a point with shows where if you're not getting me by the first or second or third episode, I don't know if I'm going to keep watching because there's just too much to watch out there to waste my time on boring, pretentious bullshit. So let me know what you think about Dune Prophecy in the comments. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.